What's up, everybody, and welcome to this installment on location of JJG and the Face. It's me, your favorite JJG, Jacob James Garcia, and this week's face is the face of Sideshow Production and all things entertainment. I'm here with the one and only Gordo Gamsby. Gordo, how you doing, brother?
I'm very well.
Awesome. I feel like I was like, how are you doing? I've been spending 6 weeks with you already. I know exactly how you're doing. But I wanted to introduce the people to who you are. Right now we're in Terrigal Beach in New South Wales?
New South Wales, Central Coast.
Central Coast, Australia. So your boy's been hopping around, going from place to place. Gordo's been showing me this and that. We just had some lovely gelato, so I'm a little phlegmy. But I wanted you to introduce my man right here. He's a producer, he's a sideshow artist, amongst other things, also an entrepreneur. But let's start off with Sideshow. That's how I see a lot of people know you as a sideshow artist. When did you get into performing as a sideshow artist, and what is Sideshow?
Sideshow is what the shows that were next to the circus. So it's where you saw the freaks and the dancing girls and all that kind of stuff. There was always the little show beside the main show. But now Sideshow's evolved into, now that all that stuff is on the main show, so that's just a genre of performing where you see sword swallowing and burlesque dances, and you see people hammering nails in their noses and all that kind of stuff. That's Sideshow.
Yeah, I noticed if I was at his wedding, lucky enough to be there a couple weeks ago, and yeah, you know that little thing you put on top of the cake, and you're like, oh, you're married now, and you take it off and you lick it. He put it in his nose, his wife pulled it out with her teeth. Sideshow.
Love.
Love right there. So what got you interested in the whole performing aspect of it? Is it safe to say it's called circus?
Circus, yeah.
So what got you into that?
A girl.
Seriously?
Originally. Yeah. There was a girl whose mum ran the circus that I with, and I was I thought she was pretty cute, and then I started doing circus, and we're still good friends now. But yeah, originally that's why I got into circus.
And did you, because I've hung out with a couple of sideshow artists, and I've interviewed them in the past as well, some of the people we know, and did you get a book? Did you watch a video? I mean, what really inspired you to take the step from being a guy juggling in your backyard into actually saying, I think I could make some money doing this?
I don't know, can people make money doing this? I read books. I was sort of early YouTube.
Okay.
I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube, but also just found a community that I was connected with. So I didn't like football, I didn't like any of the
Your football or my football?
Either one.
You don't like sports things with a ball?
I didn't really like sport so much when I was a kid. And so circus was a community that I found that was all around the world. It was the same sort of community as you would with a sporting team, but it's with a different kind of people, I guess.
What was the first trick or feat that you picked up?
Juggling, I guess.
Juggling balls?
Juggling balls and then balancing stuff on my nose. It might be a bit windy here, but but yeah, balancing stuff. And then I think it was maybe 20 when someone showed me in a cafe how to hammer a spoon into your nose. And then Sideshow was.
One of the things that fascinates me about you is we've been friends for a couple years now. For the record, if some of y'all are wondering if you've heard the name before, I've mentioned him in a couple of interviews back in Texas. This is the gentleman that the Lizard Man introduced me to and said, hey, this guy produces a comedy show in Australia. So he was the one that actually produced the show. We got to know each other the first time, but we actually got to bond for the first time in London. So that's where we got to share a couple of drinks, me, you, and Jack, do a little bit of salt and pepper, and have some fun. But one of the things I've really learned to admire about you is you've been able to successfully cross over, because a lot of people forget about, they say show business and they leave the business aspect out. You seem to have a firm grasp on the idea of business, that you've gone out and produced. You've never done stand-up before,
No.
but you produce a comedy show. You do Sideshow, you perform in that as well, but you also produce a tent that does children-friendly shows, sideshows, feats. And I noticed that you're an entrepreneur in other ways. It's what got you. Look, everyone wants more. Everyone wants more stuff. But how did you take the leap and actually decide I'm going to go into business for myself?
I think it's because I've done almost every job there is to do in a circus. I've been the guy that puts up the tent, that cleans the toilets, that sweeps all the floors, that ushers people to their seats, to being on stage, doing the lights. I've done every kind of level there is, every kind of job there is to do. And I think that changed my interest from just wanting claps on stage to wanting to make an entire thing happen.
What's claps?
Claps, like.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like.
And I think performers have a clap-o-meter, and you get some claps and you feel good about yourself, and then you can do other things. And then when your clap-o-meter gets low again, you go out and do a show and get some more claps.
So it kind of fuels you to do the stuff day and day paperwork. You're like,
yeah,
ugh, I gotta do paperwork.
It satisfies the bit that needs claps.
Okay, and what turned you on? Because I mean, you run a fairy floss machine. Is that fair to say? Can I talk about your business on this?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So you at one point you were dealing with toasties, which are like grilled cheeses to the rest of us back at home. You were dealing with toasties. You were doing fairy floss and corn. I mean, is there someone that you saw that you're like, you know what, I can also do that? Because I mean, it's rare for entertainers. It is rare, at least where I'm from, for entertainers to decide that they also want to go into business because their identity is so tied up in entertaining. I know mine was. So I'm like, I'm a comic. That's all I am. I'm a comic. And then I was like, well, I can be a comic sometimes, and I can be a businessman another time.
Yeah.
What got you to actually take the leap? You've done it all.
Yeah. The lady who got me into circus, Denny, who runs a company called Slippery Circus, she said to me very early on when I was just learning how to juggle, what happens to all performers? And you know, which is a bit nihilistic, but also a realism of you have to think about, you know, you can go out and have your fun, do your thing, but also think about what happens if you can't perform.
Right.
What happens if you can't do that?
Well, you break a hand, you can't juggle anymore.
Break a hand, you can't juggle, or you can only juggle with one hand. You know, there is always ways around it. There's many stories of people overcoming stuff. But yeah, I've always just had a sort of, what happens if I can't do that? And I like having a look at the things that go in.
Now, were you involved in the Fringe as a performer before you were a producer?
Yeah.
And how did that end up going? I mean, that's a big. Tell the people here what the Fringe even is, because we haven't discussed that. I mean, I'm telling people when I go back to the States, oh my God, guys, there's this thing called the Fringe. You meet all these people. But from your perspective, you're a local. You're from Australia. It's the Adelaide Fringe Festival. What is that?
Well, it's the second biggest arts festival in the world. It is a festival that takes over an entire city, where you can see everything from hugely funded productions that are theatre or circus or someone who's made stuff in their backyard with their friends and then putting it on to show people. It's I don't know how to describe it, sum it up in so many words.
So there's two areas of the Fringe that we work with. There's the Garden of Unearthly Delights, and then there's Gluttony.
Yeah.
And those are two separate parks. They're encased inside a fence, and it has tent after tent after tent, vendors, people selling clothes. It's just everything you need for a festival, and it's split into two. Now the festival, is that citywide too? There's more stuff outside those tents.
There's everywhere. I've been to a car park where they turned about 3 car parks into a mini theatre. That you had to go to.
Is that a parking lot?
Yeah, like a parking lot. Yeah.
Well, you're so well traveled, I can go to you to translation. I'm all like, tell me what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, a parking lot, like a multi-story parking lot, and it was on the 3rd floor or something. And I went to a puppet show that was in there. It's there's everywhere it gets turned into a little space that a show might happen, or some art is happening. There's light shows, there's sculptures, there's street performers, there's food festivals, there's all sorts of stuff.
Did you have a show in particular that you weren't involved in this year that you enjoyed? Did you have time to watch any shows?
No, I only saw Charlie Caper. I saw Charlie Caper's Robo Tricks.
Oh, I heard that was great.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't get a chance to see that.
Amazing robots. Amazing robots intermingled with magic.
Yeah, we hung out. That's the dude from Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hung out with him at Donnie's birthday party, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard everyone said nothing but good things over there.
Yeah.
Now, when you get the itch, and this might be a little bit personal, but when you get the itch to perform again, can you just book yourself?
Yeah.
You're just all like, Jacob, take the next 30 minutes off. I'm going in here, and you're like, ah. So like that?
Yeah, pretty much. I travel all around the world doing shows. Like from now, I'll go to the UK and I'm filming shows over there. And then after the UK, I'm traveling around Europe and UK doing shows and seeing shows. Then I'll be in the States, but I won't be doing shows there.
For someone who's just a traveler, not an artist, not a performer, just a traveler, where would you recommend? You gotta go see this, Kathy. You gotta go see this, Johnny. That you're just like, it's just a place that you gotta visit. Leave Australia out.
No.
Leave Australia out because we already know.
That question I can't answer. It's the one question everyone asks about traveling, but I've been to so many places now that I can't. I can, if you say I want to go here, I can tell you somewhere to go in that place. But nothing, like, no one place stands out. I like a lot of the things about a lot of different places. It's a bit of a cop-out answer. But
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Is there a moment where you second guessed being a performer? Not being in the business, just where you were just like, I don't know if this is for me. You don't have to share the story you told with me if you don't want to. I'm just saying, is there a moment where even financially or whatever the reason, you were just like...
I think those thoughts pop into your head all the time, especially when you're a sole trader, like business person. There's always the option of the thought in your head that maybe you should throw the towel in and just get a job.
But I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I talked to a mutual friend of ours, the Lizard Man, and he was talking about this box he has. And he said, in that box, I have everything I need to never go hungry again.
Yes.
So do you have the equivalent of that box?
Oh, I did from when I was a kid. I always had modeling balloons in the car to make balloon animals. So if ever I was really broke, I'd sit on the side of the road somewhere, on a street somewhere, and I'd make balloon animals.
And you would sell them to the passerbys?
Yes, selling people.
Have you ever had to sleep outside because of your craft?
Yes.
Give me an example.
Adelaide Fringe was my first year.
So the Fringe now, where you have several places that are your own, you start no, bro. This is exactly why I have people like this on the show. Everyone's looking for some easy formula, being like, "Oh, I started doing stand-up on Friday. Why am I not famous by next Thursday?" There's hard work that needs to go involved in this. So you actually, again, this guy has venues, plural, where people go to him for work. He has places that supply cotton candy, food, and snacks where people go to him for work, and it makes people happy. But you started off there, apparently.
I slept in a park.
In a park.
It's now part of Gluttony, the tree I slept under.
How does one go? Like, did you have just your luggage and you use it as a pillow?
Yeah. Big coat, it's fine.
No, man. I mean, I respect that. That's kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wasn't destitute as, like, I wouldn't say I lived on the street or anything, but I definitely didn't have any money or knowledge for accommodation or any connections. And at 28, 19, that seemed like an option.
At 19, I was living in dorms for college.
Uh-huh.
Our background's different. I know, right? I'm all like, I only want my food if it's hot. You're just like, food is great. So,
I was in at a dumpsters at that point.
Or were you really?
Yeah.
Out of dumpsters?
Yeah, dumpster diving. Supermarkets.
Another lesson right there. How bad do you want it?
I was probably eating better than most 19-year-olds, I reckon.
Yeah, college was pretty thin living. Thin, no play on the word, but still, nonetheless. Is there a trick of yours or a feat that you enjoy doing? Because I know you don't watch us perform.
No.
That's kind of a funny thing. He's just like, I'm not going to watch you perform here in Australia. I'm not just Jacob James Garcia, the JJG. To my friends, they call me JJ, which is a first. But he's like, no, I just watch people respond to your show. I don't actually watch the show.
I just listen for laughs per minute.
All right. But is there someone, a friend of yours, that you do enjoy that you don't work with? Do you watch any of your friends perform?
I see very few shows. I always have seen very few shows.
Then what's your favorite right now? Not of all time, not of when you started, not 2 years from now. Right now, what would be an ideal place for you to perform? Like, ideal.
For me to perform?
You.
I love the little tents. That's the space I really love.
They're intimate, right?
Yeah, they're like, you've got your audience is right there. You've got like a few inches between you and the audience.
You do have this space right here. You're like,
yeah, you can do that and pat someone on the head kind of thing. But I love those spaces.
And is there a go-to trick that do you switch up your closer, or is there something that you really enjoy saying, like, easy, or like, wow?
I hang a disco ball from my tongue, and then I swing it around, do a disco strongman act. That's my favorite one. It doesn't really fit in a little tent, but that's my favorite trick to do.
Like the disco balls, like that spin around and make the lights.
Yeah, hang it off my tongue on a big chain and then spin around.
Y'all crazy. I mean, not in the best way, but that's just insane. So what's next on the docket for you, man? Where do you go from here? You just did 5 weeks of the Fringe, and again, the Fringe, since we're talking about it, it is this magical time. It is very much like, I described it as a bunch of endangered species, but they're different species coming together and then celebrating each other, you know? And it's art, and you start and you go and you're tired and then you're revived and then you take a break. Now we're a few days, we've gotten some rest. What's next for you?
Driving to Melbourne tomorrow, but I'm just having a little break, decompressing from the festival. Because I spend 3 months a year in that festival, building up to it, sorting stuff out, contacting people.
See, the rest of, like myself, I just show up. And I'm just all like,
well, you're one of the people that I contact in the build up to it. So I spent 3 months with people messaging me for work or me trying to find certain people to come and work. So it was an intense time. But anyway, now it's finished. Now I can fix the things that broke. I can go through all the paperwork, all the books, and just sort of wrap it up in the next couple of weeks.
And when you go to Melbourne, what are you doing in Melbourne?
Just seeing my wife.
Seeing who, by the way, we'll have her on the show soon. Soon enough, because I mean, I leave this area tomorrow. But also a fantastic performer. Also does a lot of the business stuff over here. So you're going to see her. She's doing the comedy festival.
Yeah. She's the company manager for the International Comedy Festival.
That's how big it's getting, y'all. That's how big it's getting. It's like you went from regional to like statewide, United States. Now it's gone global, and it's crazy. And again, I mean, I've been hanging out with this dude for the last 6 weeks, so it's kind of hard for me to be like, how you doing? But no, I wanted the people to get to know you, figure it out. If people want to handle or book anything that's entertainment-wise, book your venues. They can get your tents, right? How do they find you so they can say, we want all of your products, or we want to get into the Gordo Gamsby business?
Gordo Gamsby on Gmail, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all the things. Anything it is, Dropbox, on Bebo, Foursquare, LinkedIn. It's all Gordo Gamsby, and we are the Good Time Merchants.
I was about to say, and don't forget the Good Time Merchants on Instagram as well. So basically, this guy does it all. If you need to get a hold of him or not, you see a show that he produces, go check it out. Now, you may not be in Australia, but the guy travels all over the planet. I'm following in your footsteps, Gordo, except I can't grow facial hair. This is the longest I've been without shaving, so look at me, all scruffy. I feel like I should chop down trees. I feel like, let me balance your thing on my nose. I'm not going to do that. So on behalf of myself, the JJG, and Gordo Gamsby, until next time, y'all rock the day, rule the night.